There are 8 new COVID-19 cases in Gallatin County. Where they were found and what the county health department is saying about that, just ahead.
Protesting during a pandemic? Whose health is at risk? I'm Annie Johnson, and I'll have the full story coming up.
Time now is 6:29 back here on your Friday edition of Montana This Morning. Caitlin Corbett, Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell. Setting up to be a pretty nice Friday, maybe a couple showers.
Yeah, there are a couple showers. That photo that Brian shot was fantastic, wasn't it? Yeah, I'll show that again coming up here in the next half hour.
Garbage truck.
Yeah, I can hear that too.
I thought that's what that was, yeah.
I was hoping for thunder, but no.
No, I don't think so.
Not quite.
No, I don't think so, yeah.
Temperatures this morning into the 30s and 40s. A couple of 50s out as well, but again, a little bit of lightning out toward West Yellowstone.
It's loud.
Chet's going to go.
I have to go look. Yeah, I don't think it was the garbage. It's Friday.
Is it the donuts?
No, donut delivery in a, no, it's the recycling, Chet. He went outside to look.
Just to make sure.
Warm and windy today, a chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm late in the afternoon. We're going to break down your complete forecast. Chet has finally made his way back into the building.
So apparently we have nothing better to do than to go check on the garbage truck.
And you folks can trust me, what Matt said about it being a beautiful morning is absolutely true. It's lovely out there right now. It was not a garbage truck, and there are no donuts waiting for us, Caitlin. There is your latest update at 6:30 right here.
Oh, there it is. Meantime, there are 8 new COVID cases in Gallatin County within the last 2 days.
Yeah, that brings the number to 163 total cases currently here in Gallatin County. 5 of those 8 are coming from West Yellowstone. Gallatin City County Health Officer Matt Kelly, in a news conference carried live on our website, credited wastewater testing and close contact tracing in helping identify those cases.
The new laboratory-confirmed cases in particular are a strong indication that we are now experiencing a greater level of disease and disease spread in Gallatin County. In some cases, we are seeing cases with no clear link to other cases or to travel out of state. This is an indication that we are once again seeing community transmission of the virus in Gallatin County. We have a lot of fight left in us before we start reclosing anything. We've said all along there are a number of factors that will play into decisions about how we move forward. Certainly the number of cases is consequential. It's certainly worrying that we're seeing more cases on an ongoing basis. But I would note that we don't have people in the hospital right now. We don't have people showing up at the hospital who are gravely sick that we don't know about. We're seeing some hits in our wastewater testing, but we're not seeing it. We're in early stages of that, and we have a lot to learn about that.
Now, Kelly said he expected a rise in numbers as businesses, restaurants, gyms, and other places open back up.
Well, there were 14 new coronavirus cases in Montana yesterday, including those 8 cases we just told you about in Gallatin County. Lewis and Clark County has its first 2 new COVID cases in 8 weeks. The state health department is showing 55 active cases currently, but it will add these 2 other cases MTN News has tallied in. 1 person is in the hospital. 17 people have died of COVID-19. More than 44,600 tests have been done in the state of Montana. Montana will be expanding COVID-19 grant opportunities to help small businesses, local governments, and help get more Montana meat on people's tables. Governor Bullock says an additional $25 million is going to the Small Business Stabilization Program. That program had already sent out more than $10 million to Montana businesses, and the governor introduced the Montana Meat Processing Infrastructure Grant. Governor Bullock also says there will be increased testing across the state, including asymptomatic testing and more testing in tourism communities.
Until recently, when we were doing that contact tracing, only symptomatic contacts were tested. But as we recognize the role of asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic infections in transmission, and with broader testing availability, we'll continue to test more.
And we're working on getting you information on where and how to get those tests.
Well, you may have seen our team coverage of the opening of Yellowstone National Park's Montana gates on Monday. Now, park officials say that for the first 3 days through those entrances, traffic about 45% of what it was at the same time last year. Montana's 3 gates had more than 7,000 vehicles pass through. May visitation through the Wyoming gates about 70% compared to 2019. Those Wyoming gates opened 2 weeks earlier. Yellowstone reports 0 positive COVID-19 cases in the first round of employee testing. And that testing will continue through the summer, focus on service and concession employees who are first responders and those who work directly with the public.
Demonstrations and protests are taking place all over the world as people are demanding racial equality for African Americans after the killing of George Floyd. But as MTN's Annie Johnson reports, after Sunday's demonstration in Bozeman, some people are concerned with protesting during a pandemic.
Sunday's protest for racial equality started right here at Bogart Park. The peaceful protest brought thousands of residents together, and while one side is happy to see such large numbers turn out, another side is questioning protesting during a pandemic.
I could die jogging, like with Ahmaud. I could die sleeping, like with Breonna Taylor. You know, I'm already at risk of dying every single day just for being here, just for existing, just for being black. So me going out to protest is no different from me living my daily life.
Organizers here in Bozeman are joining the rest of the country in demonstrations and protests against racism and violence towards the black community. But the timing of the demonstrations concerns some, but organizers say they've been left with no choice.
People wanting to say that we shouldn't be doing this right now are really saying we want the status quo. We don't want the status quo. This has got to change.
But there are still risks involved.
As Americans, it's important that people be able to speak out and be heard on issues as important as this. As health officer, it's also my duty to make sure people understand the risks associated with large crowds gathering during a pandemic. Hundreds or thousands of people in close proximity are at greater risk for catching COVID-19 or spreading it to others.
A risk some are willing to take.
I wouldn't regret it if I caught it, because like I said, no difference really. I could die being at home, staying at home, but if I have to die, I'd rather die fighting for something I believe in.
Sunday's demonstration was peaceful, which is what seems to be wanted from everyone.
I understand the importance of the gathering, and so we just ask that all the persons that choose to attend try to do their best to do so safely and peaceably.
Regardless of your race, your background, or any of your beliefs, please do what you can to stay safe and healthy during this time. Reporting in Bozeman, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
And a reminder, a George Floyd march is set for Bozeman today. It starts at 4 p.m. at Bogart Park. Organizers say face masks are required. Gallatin County Sheriff Brian Gutkin says the office has been getting calls about the event. The sheriff says, quote, "Last Sunday's event was held without incident. We have no reason to believe Friday will be any different." Sheriff Gutkin says the rumors on social media of members of Antifa coming are not credible at this time, but promises to watch the situation. Widespread rumors of Antifa protesters traveling to Idaho this week led to armed citizens taking to the streets. Those rumors turned out to be unfounded.
Well, we talked about this yesterday and This Week in Fish and Wildlife, but here's another reminder. Temperatures are up, snowpack across southwest Montana quickly turning to a river runoff. That's forcing the closure of some fishing access sites, posing some dangerous conditions for people near rivers. Officials with Montana Department of Fish, Wildlife and Parks say one prime example, the Gallatin River.
This is the time of year when things are at their most dangerous conditions here on the river for floaters, for recreationists. So, we just want people to remember and be aware that this is, there's a lot of unique hazards to this time of year that people should be aware of. Some of these high flows that we're getting because of the recent warm temperatures we have create obstacles and obstructions that aren't immediately apparent when you're coming down the river. And that creates, some really dangerous situations. But it's not just the upper river, it's also the lower parts of the Gallatin River and other rivers that can have similar obstructions, log jams, eddies and things like that create really deep water, hazardous conditions, and high flows for folks.
Now, Jacobson says whether you're on the water or right near the water, it's always a good idea to have rescue equipment with you. And you can see a list of some of those fishing access closures by visiting our website.
And there was some excitement in West Yellowstone yesterday afternoon. Viewer Jeffrey Wilson sent us this video of a West Yellowstone police truck chasing a car through town. The West Yellowstone says a citizen reported the driver ran a light in a construction zone and then hit the back of a camper. When police tried to stop the car, the driver fled, and that's what you're seeing here. The chase continued south into Idaho, where Fremont County deputies and the Idaho State Police both pursued that vehicle. The driver was finally stopped with a spike strip near Ashton Hill. 21-year-old Jesse Postgate was arrested and faces numerous charges. I guess excitement. We'd call that excitement?
It was apparently. Yes, it was.
Excitement it was,
Yes, it
Yellowstone.
was. High-speed chases. There you go.
I mean, viewer footage, hey, you know.
And we appreciate you
can't
very much
beat that.
submitting that to us. Thank you for thinking of us.
We always do.
We're glad to share it as well.
6:39 now. We're going to take a break, but coming up on Montana this morning, the American Civil Liberties Union is suing the White House after tear gas and rubber bullets were used on demonstrators in Washington this week. What that suit claims is coming up, and here's a look at what's ahead on CBS this morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, we're dedicating the broadcast to examining issues of race and injustice. We're going to show you why protests matter, and you're going to hear from people proud to have their voices heard. We're also going to talk to African-American civil rights activists spanning generations and get their perspective on what we are witnessing today. Plus, we'll examine the effects of white privilege in America. We'll tell you what it is and why it's a problem. And some personal reflections on the movement underway all around us today. Race for Justice, that's coming up on CBS this morning. We'll see you at 7.